guys, welcome back to my channel. My name is Yashita and I make content regarding books. So if you're interested in reading or if you want to get into reading, then this might be the channel for you to subscribe. Let's talk about today's video because I read this book and here are my thoughts. So the book is Brutal Prince by Sophie Lark and it is the first book in Brutal Birthright series. So first of all, this is a mafia romance and all of the books in the series are available on Kindle Unlimited, so there's that. Let's talk about the plot. It is basically about these two mafia families. One is Griffins and second is Gallows. So these are kind of not on a friendly term. So basically something happens which makes them come to this decision that the female main character from one family is gonna marry the male main character from the other family, and here begins our enemies to lovers arranged marriage situation. And yeah, so this is the main plot of the story. Let's talk about some positives. This was my first Sophie Lark book and it did not disappoint. First of all, we have a strong female character and all of the characters basically are very fleshed out and intriguing. You feel like you want to know each of the characters more deeply, but they are still a bit mysterious and get badass in every situation they face. So that was something I really liked in this book. This story was never dull. It was fast paced and I was constantly rooting for the main characters and the chemistry between them was unmatched. It wasn't like they were forced to be together, which I hate when that happens in books. So I really liked this in this one. One thing I would like to say is that it never felt like an enemies to lovers, because even though they wanted to kill each other, I just couldn't believe them. Or maybe I've read too much romance books to know that it won't happen. So I don't think this was a very extremely dark or extremely serious enemies to lovers. If you're looking for that, this book is not that much dark or even a little bit dark, because I could read it easily. I can't read dark romances. They just kind of don't sit right with me. So if you're looking for that type of book, this one is not. The second book probably is much more darker because I've already started it, so I can tell. It even begins on a darker and serious tone, so I think you can go on with the second book, because these all books in the series are standalones and they don't end on cliffhangers, so you can easily go through them from whichever book you want to read. So that was something that I wanted to clear. But nonetheless, this book was action packed. It was not boring at all, and you know, it was very full of emotion, and even the family dynamic was fun to read. I personally was in a slump from months before reading this book, but after I read it, I kind of wanted to read more books, because you know, there is always this phase that comes in which none of the book seems like something you are liking, and that sucks, to be honest. So I'm glad I'm out of that slump and excited to read more books. So that was something that I really liked about this book, because it was so fun and it was not slow. So I just skimmed through it. I read it in 3 days and it was never boring, and I had such a good time reading. That is the main reason that I gave this book a 5 stars. It was so interesting to read. I had so much fun reading this book that I couldn't give it lesser rating. And also there are songs and illustrations in between that you can enjoy while reading. So that is a total package. But that doesn't mean that it is a literary perfection and it doesn't have flaws, because I think that it has flaws. Let's talk about them, because we have talked enough about the things that I loved, but there are some things that bothered me too, so let's talk about them. First of all, there was a character that I could really sympathize with, and you can too, like, get his point, but I was not happy how he was dealt with, and I would have preferred a different conclusion to his story, or at least could have been talked about in a sympathetic light. So that is where I didn't like our female main character. That was just this point where I didn't like her and how she talked about that, even though I get whatever happened in the book, but still I think that was not handled very nicely. And secondly, there was this guy that was a very major deal in the book in the beginning, but later on he was just not it, and I think that could have been written a little better as well. So these were some little things that I didn't like, or some major things if you give them enough attention, because I was just having fun reading about these two characters and just caring about these two. It kind of helped me ignore the rest of the things, and I just enjoyed the story for what it is, for entertainment. And yeah, so this was my review regarding this book. I hope you guys were helped in deciding if you want to pick this book up. All right, I'll see you guys in my next video. Until then, goodbye.